It is Wednesday, March 5th, and LA Mayor Karen Bass, the worst, most incompetent mayor in LA history, is about to face the music, feel the wrath of her constituents in a new recall election. And they're not messing around. This new campaign is funded and they're ready. Also, Trump's first State of the Union speech receiving exceptionally high marks in a brand new CBS poll. We're going to show you, and some of the insane reaction from the TDS crowd. And Trump delivering a new warning to Justin Trudeau of Canada about his reciprocal tariff threat. What Trudeau didn't know. Plus, more stories as well from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. Really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. A new recall campaign has been launched to oust LA Mayor Karen Bass, the worst, most incompetent mayor in LA's history. The new campaign's called the Recall Karen Bass Movement. Here's their website. Now, if you live in LA, you can go there right now. You could sign the petition, help get this woman ejected from her seat. And they're not messing around. Big money is behind this, including from billionaire philanthropist Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr.'s presidential running mate, personally helping to launch this effort, saying someone needs to do it. Angelenos have the right to hold Mayor Bass accountable for her failures. LA has endured enough. Once a city of hope, it's now overrun with crime, chaos, and suffering. Today, we begin the effort to revive the City of Angels for the people. First step, recalling Karen Bass. Amen. And they've hit the ground running. Watch the first campaign ad they just released. Brutal ad. Watch.
This has the potential for 200 plus acres in the next 20 minutes. We have a potential for structures being threatened in the next 20 minutes.
Crews trying to contain those massive Los Angeles wildfires.
At least 24 people have tragically been killed. When the fires broke out, LA Mayor Karen Bass was in Africa.
We know that there was warnings about the weather before you went.
When she returned, instead of answering critical questions from reporters, she chose to just ignore those questions and stay silent.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
We'll accept home blame, right? So at the LA Times, we endorse Karen Bass. That's a mistake, and we admit that.
There are calls for Karen Bass to resign, and those calls are getting louder.
And look, it's been almost 2 months since the Pacific Palisades fire started. On March 7th, in 2 days, it will be 2 full months, and the Santa Ynez Reservoir is still empty. None of the fire trucks that were out of service in December have been fixed. 100 plus fire trucks still out of service. The only thing it seems this mayor has done is try to survive politically. That's what she does, terminating the one person who the people in her city trusted. LAFD Fire Chief Kristen Crowley, who I don't have any love for personally, but at least she was honest, coming out, blowing the whistle on her boss, on Karen Bass, before and after the fires.
She was honest, she was open.
You've spoken with the Fire Commission. You have made it very clear that this department is underfunded, correct?
That is absolutely correct.
This department was asked to take a $17 million budget cut.
That is correct.
How does that affect your department?
It impacts our ability to provide service. Absolutely.
How did that affect the firefight in the Palisades and beyond?
So, first and foremost, what I just said before is making sure our firefighters have the ability to provide service. So, $17 million cut did not allow us to do what we needed to do. And where that impacted us specifically for Palisades was our ability to move into reserve apparatus. The $17 million cut into our ability to utilize resources that should be at our disposal that we were unable to fix because the funding was not there because of cuts to our mechanics.
What type of apparatus are we talking about specifically?
Mainly fire engines and ambulances.
NBC4 wanted to see if that was actually true. News Chopper 4 flying over LAFD fire stations, and we did find those ambulances, fire engines, and other apparatus that the LAFD tells us they cannot operate because they do not have funds for mechanics to come and fix them. And as sources inside the LAFD explained to me today, imagine the frustration during the Palisades fire when they called in firefighters from around the nation and around Southern California to help them in the firefight, but they did not have engines and ambulances.
She fired Crowley 2 weeks ago. Well, yesterday, the LA City Council denied her appeal to get her job back. Crowley testifying, though, in front of the City Council, blasting the mayor, saying she lied. She's lying to you. She didn't only know. I personally informed her about the weather in the days before January 7th, yet she still chose to go to Ghana anyway and purposely cut our fire budget. Watch.
It is also a false allegation that we failed to notify the mayor's office about the upcoming weather event. I stand by our previous statements about this. The LAFD engaged in all of its standard communications, including emailing 2 separate media advisories, conducting multiple live and recorded media interviews about the predicted extreme weather and fire danger, and also notifying city officials about the upcoming weather events. The Emergency Management Department also plays a key role in notifying the mayor's office and city officials. And the mayor's office itself also set out multiple media messages prior to the fire's warnings.
And here's what I keep coming back to. Karen Bass has had 2 months since the LA fires, 2 months with nothing to show for it. The Santa Ynez Reservoir, still empty. None of the fire trucks have been fixed. The reservoir was built specifically to serve and save Pacific Palisades in case of a fire like this. The Santa Ynez Reservoir, holding 117 million gallons, is still empty. Why? Wouldn't that be the first thing you do? Refill the reservoir? Well, get this. The reason, she says, is because the state ordered an investigation to learn if it being empty contributed to the lack of water pressure. A reporter asked her about this. So what? Why haven't you refilled it? What does that have anything to do with refilling it? Bottom line, she's not doing her job. Karen Bass is a political animal with big political ambitions. All she cares about is moving up the chain, running for Congress. She needs to be booted out of office. To initiate the recall, we need to collect around 330,000 signatures in the next 4 months. So if you live in LA, want to help, go to recallkarenbass.com, sign the petition. In another story, President Trump delivered his first State of the Union speech in a joint session of Congress last night. Democrats in the chamber acting like children, rudely interrupting, holding up signs and placards saying the words false and lies. At one point, Congressman Al Green of Texas, representing Texas's 9th district, which is the Houston area, was removed by the Sergeant-at-Arms due to failure to shut his mouth. Here was Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, halting the address to have Al Green removed. This was great. Watch.
Ever recorded a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House.
Democrats constantly getting up, walking outside during the speech, filming these short TikToks, these short clips to post to social media, claiming Trump's speech was awful. Yet the American people had a very different opinion. According to a CBS News poll among speech watchers last night, 76% approved of Trump's speech. That's the overwhelming majority of people. The best line of the night, in my opinion, was on the southern border. Trump taking a victory lap and informing the nation that under Biden, we had over 11,000 illegal aliens crossing the border per day. Each day, 11,000 people illegally crossing the border. Well, now it's under 300. That's it, 300 people a day. Immediately ejected once they try. 11,000 a day to 300. Watch.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Another moment that got a lot of attention when Trump was honoring DJ Daniels, a young brain cancer survivor. The cameras caught all of this. Democrat Debbie Wasserman Schultz rolling her eyes, and it wasn't just her. Dems writ large didn't stand or applaud at all. Almost all of them acting completely indifferent the entire time, refusing to stand or even shake hands with Trump's cabinet, which is customary. Personally, I thought the way they behaved just made them look awful. Not standing for a young cancer survivor, rolling your eyes on camera about it, despicable. Watch the eye roll caught on C-SPAN, a truly low moment for the Democrat Party. Watch.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
And it wasn't just the elected Democrats, it's their stenographers in the media as well. MSNBC hitting a new all-time low last night. Watch the sickness that's enveloped these people, the Trump derangement syndrome sickness, come out in full force on MSNBC. You can't make this up. Watch.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
In another story, Trump's 25% tariffs have gone into full effect against Mexico and Canada yesterday. Universal across-the-board tariffs for all imports into the U.S. from these two countries will now owe a 25% duty in order to be received. This isn't going over well in Canada. Justin Trudeau threatening to impose retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Trump warning Governor Trudeau last night, not very smart, saying, please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts on a retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. And here's the thing, Canada's leaders are freaking out about these tariffs, publicly acting tough, speaking toughly in public, but in private, they're begging Trump to make a deal because all the public posturing about reciprocal tariffs, retaliatory tariffs, won't work on us. There's nothing Canada makes or manufactures that the U.S. doesn't. Canada needs our imports. We don't need theirs. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick this morning telling Fox that Canadian and Mexican officials have been on the phone begging for an ease on these tariffs. Watch.
He's going to come out today angry that Americans are still being killed. Now, both the Mexicans and the Canadians were on the phone with me all day today trying to show that they'll do better. And the president's listening because, you know, he's very, very fair and very reasonable. So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, none of that pause stuff. But I think he's going to figure out, you do more, and I'll meet you in the middle some way. And we're going to probably be announcing that tomorrow. So somewhere in the middle will likely be the outcome. The president moving with the Canadians and Mexicans, but not all the way.
Just to clarify,
All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.